Testimony of Donald Marshall. The truth behind the lizard people conspiracy theory. Vril lizards, allegedly. Marshall explains that prehistoric vril lizards have coexisted with humans since ancient times, where they were seen either as gods worthy of worship or demons to be feared and obeyed. He claims the lizards have played many different roles in the history of mankind and have been called by many different names, pretending to be our gods, demigods, guardians, or even distant ancestors. By interacting with only a select few, the public would rarely see or come into direct contact with the lizards, unless one was a member of the inner circle of the temples, or those of the highest orders of the priesthood. In addition, the vril would also enjoy the protection of many generations of royal families, privileged politicians, and spiritual leaders, who would agree to assist the vril lizards and keep their presence a secret. He maintains that world governments have agreed to help hide the existence of vril lizards in exchange for the opportunity to utilize their natural ability to invade and steal the brain in a process that Marshall calls body snatching. In some cultures, the vril's ability to body snatch took on a spiritual significance, as it was seen as a divine transformation, where one began life as a mere mortal to then transcend into becoming a god. Centuries ago, there was no understanding about parasites and the parasitic process. Many devoted followers submitted to the process of body snatching, disregarding their former lives and surrendering themselves to the gods. Quote unquote. Other cultures, Marshall reports, thought of body snatching as a type of demonic possession and engaged in holy rites to try and drive the evil out. Marshall claims that whether seen as gods or demons, vril lizards have a drive to body snatch, infiltrate social circle groups, and then systematically take over, with each new vril host assisting the others in finding more to body snatch. For that reason, some cultures around the world use various methods in an attempt to control vril infestation, from the building of housing structures high on cliffs, as in the case of the Anazi Anasazi Indians of New Mexico, to the construction of pyramids that act as secret vril traps. The ancient Egyptians were expert vril slayers, says Marshall, with indigenous solutions, such as the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza in El Giza, Egypt, believed to have been built as a tomb for the pharaoh Khufu around 2560 BC. The Great Pyramid is the oldest and largest of the three pyramids in the Giza necropolis, and the only one to remain largely intact. Egyptologists have long been mystified by the presence of narrow shafts built within the thick walls of both the king and the queen's chamber. The purpose of these shafts is not clear. They were once to be air shafts for ventilation, but this idea has now been widely abandoned in favor of the theory that the shafts will serve a ritualistic purpose associated with the ascension of the king's spirit to the heavens. According to Marshall, however, the shafts were designed to drive vril lizards deep into the lower chamber, from which there was no exit. Vril lizards would enter the pyramid and once trapped had no escape. This helped keep the vril lizard population under control for a long time. Lastly, Marshall informs us that the vril survived throughout the ages with the assistance of powerful royal families from select Illuminati bloodlines. These families secretly hid the vril in their dungeons, fortresses, and castle strongholds for generations, where they were regarded with affection as pets, useful as spies, unmatched as weapons. The royals found the lizards remarkably useful in the replacement of problem people, in a time when one could simply go missing from the court, no questions asked. What's more, if there was difficulty establishing favorable relations with a neighboring kingdom, all one would have to do is invite the entire royal family to visit for a feast in their honor to celebrate a royal wedding, perhaps. After several weeks of festivities and real body snatching, it's extraordinary how close one can become with one's new in laws. Well, just to explain that last bit, essentially what that whole thing was about is like, if, well, it was pretty self explanatory, but, obviously, a lot of times when a lot of kingdoms have problems with each other, they'll go to war or something. But instead, allegedly, sometimes what would happen is, and, hypothetically, this would be a good way to avoid deaths in war. You could just invite the neighboring kingdom, the king, the queen, the princess, and the prince or whatever, his children and everything. You just invite them over to your kingdom for dinner, and then literally just have the real lizards body snatch them, and nobody would even know, because these lizards allegedly, they act just like, once they body snatch you, they have all your memories and they act just like you or me. You would never know. They're very good at mimicking, essentially. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and peace.